Friends of our channel and YouTubers, welcome. Answers of an alien from Andromeda, 5th for video, July 23, 2011. Question: Paul asks, Mithy, you believe that any serious events happen in our own moon during this period? Paul: the moon has been completely evacuated preventively. As I said, some units of thrust have already been installed there, to allow corrections of orbits, if necessary. 2 of the Pleiades spacecraft, there will be hostiles for possible interception of large asteroids, from the end of October. The asteroid belt would suffer great instability with the passage of the dwarf star through it, so, well already scheduled in the asteroid's possible path of collision, many others can follow the gravitational field of the dwarf star, heading toward the Earth and Moon, randomly. It is interesting that you give names for the moons of other planets, and you call yours simply as Moon. We call the planet Earth Tiamat, and your moon, Venus. We hope that Venus survive intact this event. Question: a mate asks, and on Earth, what is happening at the moment? Mate: the Earth has already started to swing slowly on its axis, as some of you may already be recording. Your scientists know, but are prevented from disclosing in the media. The layers of magma are beginning to move beneath the crust of the planet, and this is unbalancing the axis of rotation. This will make your moon and sun change their positions relative to what you're used to seeing. The large volume of rain and snow in some cases is related to the volcanic heating under the poles, ocean warming by undersea volcanic activity, and the large increase in incidence of cosmic energy channeled by the dwarf star in the southern hemisphere. The relative humidity has never been so loaded globally, and this factor is causing the softening of many regions that are sagging under its own weight. With the warming caused by movement of the layers of magma, underground deposits of water may evaporate into the atmosphere, and deposits of oil and gas at high pressure in the lower layers of the crust may begin to flow out and burn. If a crack cuts your Middle East, billions of barrels of oil will transform the region into a vast lake of oil. All this is being monitored by us. We have transfer equipment for molecular transport, which can carry these materials through energy beams to secure places in the universe, decontaminating regions. Question: Stephen asks, Mithy, is it true that, with the passing of the dwarf star, the magnetic energy will erase all memories and intelligence from our minds, without protecting our brains with some sort of metal helmet? Stephen, the interaction of gravity between the planets does not really affect brain waves. The brain is insulated magnetically. If you talk about radiation, there is a different story. Radiation, depending on the type and intensity, can cause a short circuit in the exchange of electrical impulses between neurons, burning the nerve endings, due to overload. This cerebral paralysis may be temporary or permanent, depending on exposure. Question: Toter asks, what happened with the Earth and the Earthlings 3,600 years ago, by the last visit of Nibiru? How did the life on Earth survive? Toter, the previous passages of Nibiru was all too catastrophic. In the last passage, he caused the disasters that culminated in Exodus, quoted in your old scriptures, and the decline of Egyptian civilization. All the ancient civilizations at that time had been provided with a large complex of tunnels in underground facilities, and all its constructions were in solid rock, to prevent radiation. Always guided by the gods. Mayans, Incas, Aztecs in South and Central Americas, Hopi in North America, among many other cultures of Asia, all of them kept underground facilities to survive the cataclysms announced to their spiritual leaders. Nature recovers easily when left alone, were introduced fauna species, and the planet continued on its course of development, for the last step as a settlement, ending now with all of you as witnesses. Question: a mate asks, what we can believe in? Science, religion, government? Who can support us in these times? Mate: scientists sometimes lose much of the incarnation dedicated to a particular project, locked in their laboratories, some willing to fame, others wishing to position or profits, and few of altruism for mankind. That is, there are scientists, and scientists. The same on religion. There are the pure intention of fighting to reduce ignorance and suffering, and the fanatics who want to politicize and maneuver ignorance. There are religious, and religious. They say on your planet that if any politician is very well intentioned, has only two paths to follow, turning a corrupt, or leave politics, that is, there is only one type of politicians. In conclusion, in your present stage of social development are two sides of the coin for everything, except politics. In fact, you will have only each other. Those who want peace and respect differences, should join those who can help you in these emergency situations, without letting themselves be carried away by your government, to wherever it is, waiting for the reinforcements that may come from our part once the dust settles. Question: Maya asks, Mithy, what you would do to convince, with evidences, a skeptic that a brown dwarf is approaching, knowing that is virtually impossible in such short time, or everybody on Earth would have noticed it already? Maya: if anyone in observatories installed in backyards, or in the mountains not seen it so far, does not mean that your governments are not following it. The WISE telescope remains active, but transmitting military frequency only. The telescopes in Antarctica have also been installed primarily to accompany the arrival of the dwarf star, that rises at an angle that is only visible at latitude 90 degrees south. Currently, it is climbing toward the Sun, and will soon be seen in almost any latitude on Earth. I can do nothing to convince anyone, you will be convinced for yourself. Question: Maya asks, if nothing happens in those next 30 days, regarding field of vision for the supposed celestial object, will you stop channeling your wisdom to the Earthlings? See Maya, if nothing happens, it will be because something happened. If the community Galactica resolved by changing the trajectory of the dwarf star, which seems highly unlikely, this could change the facts. I could be doing with you an experience from my records, to measure your degree of behavioral evolution, before an imminent catastrophe, which right now also is not the case. So, if nothing happens for no accountable reason, I can stop answering questions if that's best for you. Anyway, my mission here is almost finished, but I should get to participate in the first contacts between our civilizations. But, be prepared not to get caught by surprise by the events of this end of age. Mates, I've noticed in these months of conversations we had, that Earthlings will be a good new community. Some of you have much discernment, are sentimental, and most of the times, passionate. In the right context, the possibilities for cultural and technological development will be developed quickly. The laws of the universe are not as complicated as they seem. In the third dimension, you have developed over time, novels related to interdimensional realities, trips to the layers of time, heaven, hell and purgatory, all products of minds eager for development. This denotes a great imagination, to adapt easily to new ideas and new realities in the relationship with many bizarre situations, that you shall know in dealing with all kinds of strange beings that inhabit this third dimension. There are hundreds of levels of virtual realities, places where not everything is as it seems, but what others want it to appear. Much still to learn, all in the third dimension. Thousands of years of knowledge still to assimilate, you still have no idea of what awaits you. You are far from other dimensions, or parallel universes. This is all a story to be deciphered in the next 20,000 years. By going through this phase of discovery of who you are, and what you do here in the universe, everything will become more logical and your mind will automatically be focused efforts to what really matters, your personal development of themselves, body and soul. In your present conjuncture, are you still focusing on yourself, not in tune with the universe, as will be in this next phase that should experience who are ready for it? From there, you will realize that nobody owns anything in the universe, everything is in exchange, where everyone is looking to be well with others, as it will give you a hand when you need it most. You can feel good about eating at your table, in the comfort of your home, knowing that your neighbor is hungry, and sleeping in the open? Well, admit it or not, this is what happens in your current society, where you can feel sick thinking about it, but you have no initiative to do something about it. When social injustice begins at the top of the rulers are known to corrupt, the people going to discredit that as ordinary citizens, can do something to change the context of things. Therefore, a just society begins with a just government. We are here because our societies are already in balance. We have justice and freedom to develop ourselves, so we can donate our time and efforts to help societies like yours to develop properly. One day, your society will do the same for others, and all have a purpose in the development of our universe. Keep in mind the following. The planet Earth, or Tiamat, will move to a new frequency band, regardless of the passage of dwarf star or not, so, all 7 billion people will be redistributed to their rightful places in the scale of development, by all means that are predetermined by the laws of nature, governing the harmony and balance that keeps the universe in motion. These laws are immutable. You can try to slow its effects for some time, but have only been wasting valuable development time for yourself. Everything in the universe to exist must correspond with its opposite, explaining. A proton has a positive charge only if there are their opposites electrons with a negative charge. A potential difference to exist requires two references. The potential difference between two plans sets the amount of quantum energy available between the two plans as a vacuum capacitor. The multiplication, or the excess of the quantum energy generated by the space between the planes, flows to food these same planes that maintains it, through so-called black holes. The universe is stabilized, as a major generator perpetual, and this quantum energy is generated by all that lives, and growing in it. When the planes hit a boundary load much larger than necessary to balance the system, causes a so-called Big Bang, or a burst of energy as a deep discharge at its opposite side, initiating the expansion of a new universe, parallel to the original that gave it birth, and so on. This is an example of knowledge that does not bring any practical effect to your reality. Therefore, in terms of knowledge, everything must happen at the right time, to have some real value. Thanks for watching. Join our channel. You are welcome there.